Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the virtual college fair for all Virginia students, sponsored by the Virginia Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Counselors and StriveScan. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off, so the presenters cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at strivescan.com/Virginia. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. And now I'll turn it over to our presenters. We are here in session A2 this afternoon, so I will turn it over to William and Mary.
Hello, so I am going to share my screen so that you guys can get a little bit more information about William and Mary. Okay, so William and Mary, we're going to start here with the picture of the Wren building. And actually, I probably should introduce myself. My name is Tish Kennedy. I'm one of the associate deans in the undergraduate admissions office at William and Mary. I'm also the director of diversity and access. And I always like to start with saying that this is, I get every day to do my dream job, which is to talk to students, to talk a little bit more about college, and to talk a little bit more about access. So that kind of informs the way that I approach admissions. The photo that you see in front of you is the Wren building. The Wren building is the oldest academic building in continuous use in the United States. And we like to start here because you'll hear a lot about history and tradition at William and Mary. You'll hear a lot about us being a school that's been around for a really long time. A lot of the history and tradition that happens in or around this building. So we like to ground ourselves here just to start. So why William and Mary? So we'll start with just at the beginning, right? William and Mary was founded in 1693. We're the second oldest college in the United States. And a lot of times we have that conversation about being the second oldest college in the reference of just having been around a long time. And I think it's really important to talk about why that is of importance. So for us, what that means is we've had a lot of time to figure out who we want to be. We've had a lot of time to figure out how we best can support our students. And during times of challenge, William and Mary's had a lot of time to be able to look back at previous times of challenge to kind of inform the way that we would move forward. We've had a lot of times to get things right, a lot of times to get them wrong, and to figure out who we want to be in these particular moments. So it's one of the ways that I think our history sort of informs the way that we move forward. So the other thing about being old is that there tends to be a lot of history and a lot of traditions. If I were to go back to this photo, I would tell you that if you go right through those archways, you would see a plaque, and that plaque would have a list of firsts about William and Mary. Most people at William and Mary will have a favorite first or favorite tradition. So it's not odd to have someone who can very easily tell you what their favorite first or traditions would be. Let's move forward. We're going to talk quickly about a few things that I think make William and Mary special. The first of which is going to be our size. Spent a few years as a high school counselor, and I know that oftentimes I would talk to students about if they wanted a large school or a small school, and so many times they would say they wanted a mid-sized school. William and Mary is truly that. We are truly a mid-sized school. We have a little bit over 6,300 undergraduate students and a little over 2,400 graduate students. The great thing about being a school of that size is that you have all of the amenities that you have in a big state research institution. We are a public research institution in Virginia, but we offer it in a smaller package. So it allows us to offer things like an 11-to-1 student to faculty ratio, an average class size of 25 to 35 students. And what that really means is while you get some of those close engagements with faculty and staff, you really get to know your fellow students. You're also going to get all the amenities that you would get in a large, again, state research institution. For example, 80% of our students doing research, #1 for study abroad in public universities in the nation, right? 65% of our students doing, to 70% actually, 65 to 70% engaged in study abroad or study away. So you're going to get all those things that you would get in a larger state institution, but we can offer it in a smaller package. This is kind of a snapshot of our community. I mentioned to you guys that I'm also the director of diversity and access. So this slide is exceptionally important to me. It highlights the fact that we understand that diversity is critical to a learning environment that is actually preparing students for the future, that's doing what it should be doing to prepare students to be people in the world. And so what we want to do is continue to strive towards increasing these sorts of numbers, but at the same time, not just leaning on numbers and recognizing that inclusion and belonging are super critical to a student's actual experience and feeling connected to a college or university. We feel like it's our responsibility in the undergraduate admissions office to see you through your experience at William and Mary and make sure that what we're telling you on the front end is the experience that you're having once you're there. And then some facts and figures. So we can talk a little bit more about the admissions process and what we look for in our applicants. It varies so much school to school, but just know that our process is one that's exceptionally holistic, that balances your academics with your personal qualities and what you'll bring to our community. And that we are, the biggest thing and the biggest change would be that we're test optional, and not just for this next year, but we're doing a 3-year pilot with the goal, I'm guessing, to remain test optional, but we've committed to 3 years. And what that means is that if you do not decide that your test scores are reflective of your academic ability, you do not have to submit them to complete your application, nor do you have to submit them to be considered for scholarships, financial aid, or anything along those lines. So you can make that decision as to if you would like to or would not like to, or don't have access to test scores in this year. So that's the biggest change at this point. The last thing I'll do is just show you our dates and deadlines. We're an early decision school. That's the binding decision process. So if you were like, that speedy presentation that Tish lady gave me was just so riveting, I have to apply early decision. Those are the dates for the binding early decision process. And you can see the regular decision dates as well. And hopefully you guys will have some questions for me throughout or some questions at the end. So I thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you for that presentation. So next we'll hear from Mass Maritime Academy.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ashley Willis and I'm the Associate Director of Freshman Admissions at Massachusetts Maritime Academy, which if you have not heard of us before, that is okay. That is why I am here. So to jump in, some quick facts about us. We are located in Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts, which is right along the Cape Cod Canal, about an hour directly south of Boston or about 45 minutes from Providence, Rhode Island. We have about 1,700 undergraduate students, so we are a relatively small school. We are a state university of Massachusetts as well as a state maritime academy, which essentially just means we offer a specialized set of academic programs, but we do function as a public university of Massachusetts. But overall, we offer a STEM-based education and a regimented campus life. And I'll talk more about what each of those mean. And also up front, we have 15 Division III varsity athletic teams, as well as a variety of club and intramural options. So academically, like I said, we do offer a pretty specialized set of academic programs. We have 7 majors total. They're all Bachelor of Science degrees, and they're listed right here. The 2 that make us a state maritime academy that we would be best known for are marine engineering and marine transportation, which are 2 programs in which students earn a U.S. Coast Guard license in addition to their bachelor's degree, which allows them to work in the shipping industry. So out on large vessels like the one in my virtual background. Our other 5 programs are more loosely based in the maritime industry. We have students who pursue careers that are shoreside positions within the maritime industry, but we also have a lot of students pursuing careers in other industries as well. So you certainly don't have to work in the maritime, although that is a sort of our founding base. What does tie all of our academic programs together is a focus in STEM and a focus in hands-on learning. So science and math is a really big part of the curriculum in all of these programs, as well as hands-on academic work. We have a lot of great hands-on spaces on campus, a lot of great labs, simulators, places to do hands-on research, as well as all of our students participate in an experiential learning trip, typically somewhere abroad with the other students in their major in their first year, and all of our students complete co-ops or internships throughout their 4 years. So there's sort of those three different levels of hands-on learning that you're doing on campus, then off campus with your peers, and then going off and doing a co-op or internship on your own. So all of those are setting you up to be prepared to take that first job when you graduate. So the other thing that really makes us unique is the fact that our students participate in a regimented campus lifestyle. So what that means is that the structure and lifestyle on campus is similar to the military. Our students wear uniforms. Their day-to-day life is relatively structured, at least during the week, so Monday through Friday. But they don't have any service obligations. You're not actually joining the military by coming to Mass Maritime, and you have no requirement to do so. It's just a structure that exists on campus. The reason why we have this in place is partially for students who are earning the U.S. Coast Guard license, in which this regimented experience is a requirement. But for all of our students, we have everyone participate because of the skills that you develop as part of this program. It's designed to build leadership skills, management skills, time management skills, things that are going to be really essential to you in any career path that you go into. So it's taking your campus life, your day-to-day experiences, and making that part of your academic experience as well. But outside of the regimented experience, we do have other aspects of more traditional campus life. As I mentioned before, we do have Division III varsity athletics. These are the varsity teams that we have. We also have a number of club and intramural sports. Most notably, we have club rugby and club ice hockey, which, despite being club sports, actually compete intercollegiately. So there's still a pretty high level of competition. We also have a very involved student government association, which also oversees about 30 clubs and organizations on campus. So there's a lot of opportunity to get involved in those more traditional kind of clubs and organizations, whether that's focused on your academic program or something like a beekeeping or motocross club. We have a variety of events that take place throughout the year. Emory Rice Day is sort of like our spring event, sort of tied to that. Pop-up events throughout the year, a student lounge and game room in the residence halls. So you're still getting a lot of those aspects of traditional campus life. They're just fused together with that regimented campus life. So from an admission standpoint, what type of student are we looking for? Our average GPA is about a 3.1 to 3.2, like a solid B. Our average SAT is about a 1050 to 1100, which is about a 22-23 on the ACT. We are test optional for this year. So for seniors out there, you do not have to submit your SAT or ACT scores. I'm just including those averages as a point of reference. When we say optional, we do mean it. You will not be disadvantaged in the application process or in the merit scholarship review by not submitting test scores. Within your GPA, we're definitely looking at how you're doing in math and science classes and your trajectory over the 4 years of high school. If any of what I just said sounds interesting to you, please feel free to check out some of our virtual visit programming. We have a lot of different options and options to hear from our current students and faculty as well as admissions staff. And that is my contact information if you have any questions.
All right, thank you. And next we'll hear from Trinity Washington University.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Stamp, and I am the Associate Director for Enrollment Development at Trinity Washington University. It is a pleasure to be with you all this evening to share a little bit more about our school. So the College of Arts and Science is our undergraduate all-women's liberal arts college. We are committed to the education of women. Our foundation is based on liberal arts and liberal learning. We are really intrigued with students being able to be professionally prepared. So all of our students are required to complete an internship before they graduate. And we are grounded by the missions of the Sisters of Notre Dame. So some quick facts about us. We were founded in 1897 during a time where other Catholic universities were not admitting women. So we are the first all-women's college in the Washington, D.C. area. We're about 15 to 20 minutes away from downtown D.C. It really depends on traffic. And we do consider ourselves to be a smaller university where our student-to-teacher ratio is about 15 to 1. The Payton Academic Center was actually one of our newest buildings, and it was donated to us by the Payton family. She is an alum of class of 53. This is the building in which you'll have the majority of your classes. Although this building does specialize for our students in the sciences and the nursing program, regardless of what discipline you decide to major in, you will still have the opportunity to either take classes in this building or meet with faculty members. So programs of study, we have about 24 different majors that are very specific to what our students are interested in learning. We are best known for our nursing program. So about 20% of our students do decide to come to Trinity to study nursing. We do have a Conway Scholarship that is awarded to individuals who show a genuine interest in the nursing field. Due to our proximity to downtown DC, our second most popular major is anything in the political realm or criminal justice or pre-law. And to top off for round 3 will be business administration. We do understand that it is a difficult transition for some students to go from high school directly into college. So we do our best to guide you throughout the way. You will have an admissions counselor that will help you with your application to Trinity, but you'll also get an advisor upon declaring your intent of being a student that will share resources with you as far as tutoring, the writing center, or studying abroad. We also have disability services for our students that decide to self-identify. Residence hall. So you are not required to live on campus as a freshman. If you do decide to live on campus your first year, you will be required to have a roommate. As an upperclassman, you will not have to have a roommate. The only time that you will be required to live on campus is if you receive the Conway Scholarship that I just told you about. Athletics at Trinity, on top of being really on top of our academics, we want our students to be healthy. So we have the Trinity Center for Women and Girls in Sports, which is the largest faculty dedicated to women and girls in the Washington, D.C. area. And we also are NCAA Division III, and these are the different sports that we have. Our mascot is actually a tiger, and we call her Tina the Tiger. Clubs and organizations, so all of our majors have a club or an organization that corresponds with that particular major. If you don't see a club that you are interested in participating in, it's really simple to start a club. You just round up some of your friends and express that interest, and you can start that club on our campus. We also have a number of different traditions that you will take part as soon as you get admitted into the institution. Applying to Trinity. So we have our own personal application, but we also are a part of the Common App. I do encourage our students to complete the Trinity application if they do choose to participate on onsite. We ask for you to send in your official transcript, one personal statement. You'll see 5 essay prompts on both of our applications. You only have to pick one. We have one letter of recommendation that's coming from a teacher or a counselor, and we are SAT, ACT optional all the time. So this isn't new. This is something that we've always done. We do ask our students to have at least a 2.5 GPA or higher, and there is no application fee. Scholarships, like I stated earlier, we do have the Conway Scholarship that is awarded to our nursing students. We also have the Leadership Scholarship that is awarded to our students based on GPA and when you do decide to apply to Trinity. So I always tell our students to apply early and to strive for higher GPA so you can get the most funding. Our campus is very diverse, so we do participate with the Dreamer Scholarship for our undocumented students. Again, my name is Jessica Stamp, and I am Associate Director of Admissions. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to email me. If not, as a student from Virginia, you will be working with Jessica Isahra, who will be your recruiter. So please send any questions you may have to her or myself. And I hope that you all decide to apply to Trinity.
Great, thank you. Let me see. So unfortunately, our representative from West Liberty University was not able to join us, so we will hear from University College Dublin next.
All right, hey everyone. Let me get my screen pulled up here. Well, I'm going to throw something different in the mix. My name is Kendall. I am based here in the US in Manhattan, but I'm a representative for University College Dublin. So we're going to hop across the pond for just a couple of minutes, and I'm happy to share a broad overview of UCD, but also at the same time highlight some similarities and differences about studying abroad for your undergrad degree compared to being in the US. So you may be just at the beginning stages of exploration. You may have never thought about going abroad for undergrad until this very moment. So why would you consider Ireland? Why Dublin? I'm happy to personally attest to the fact that it's an amazing country. It is safe, it's friendly, it's welcoming. It's often ranked the world's friendliest country in travel magazines and by travel companies. It's often ranked in the top 10 to 12 safest countries in the world as well, according to the Global Peace Index. For being such a small country, it's very multicultural, a very global society and very well connected. And I think that's in part because Dublin is a European headquarter hub, a European headquarter capital. So companies like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Airbnb, et cetera, they all have their European headquarters in Dublin, which brings in people from all over the world. It's the only English-speaking country in the EU, so you will hear Gaelic, you'll see Gaelic, you'll get that cultural immersion, but you won't have to jump over that language barrier. Dublin itself is often ranked in the top 10 best student cities in the world, and I think that's because over half of Dublin's population is under the age of 34. So there's a very vibrant student life and downtown scene. But most importantly, when you go to Ireland, your degree will transfer back and be recognized. All of Ireland's universities are in the top 1 to 2% of universities worldwide. UCD, we are one of Ireland's oldest universities. We were founded in 1854, but for being such an old university in the country, we do have a modern campus that's about 2.5 miles south of Dublin city center. It's in the Embassy district, which is very beautiful. It's a residential area, but you can hop on a bus and get into the hustle and bustle of downtown in a matter of only 20 minutes. We have a comprehensive range of degree programs. They are academically excellent. We are ranked the #1 university in the world, in Ireland, and in the top 1% of universities worldwide. So as I mentioned, we do have a modern campus with modern amenities and a lot of support services for all of our students on campus. I think that is a little different than a lot of European universities, but we do have services that you're used to here in the US. So that could be a math tutoring center, writing center, college career advising for post-grad employment. We have different ability support services, whether that's learning differences or physical differences as well. So we have really great amenities for our students. We have over 130 clubs and organizations as well. So similar to the US, there are many different groups and you can definitely plug in and find your place. We do have students that live on campus. We have about 3,000, soon to be 6,000, and it's about 50% international, 50% Irish, which is pretty cool. A big difference is you have your own private bedroom, and it feels more like an apartment on campus as opposed to a massive dorm. And we do guarantee all of our first-year international students housing on campus. We're the most international campus in Ireland, so we have about 30,000 students, 17,000 are undergrad, and about 7,000 international students. That is pretty huge, so about 30% of our population and about 40% of our faculty come from outside of Ireland as well. Of that percentage, the majority are from the US. So you may feel like you're alone, but we have about 2,000 US students on campus every year. We have over 70 undergrad courses that range between 3 to 4 years, and these are some overarching subjects that our programs fall into. But a big difference is you won't have general education requirements at UCD. So if you want to be a STEM major, you never have to take another English class again. So you apply directly into the program that you want to study and begin it right away. A unique program at UCD, though, that is a little different than other European universities is we have a liberal arts and sciences program that's very popular with US students that allows you a year of flexibility to take a variety of classes and then choose what you want to go into at the end of your first year. We are on the Common App. I want to highlight that because that is the easiest way for you to apply. And we do focus primarily on academics. So not as much your volunteer work or your extracurriculars or letters of recommendation, but we really do focus on GPA, your class standing, and your test scores. We are test flexible for 2021 entry. There are some programs that won't require your standardized testing at all, but there are some that still will. However, the programs that will require testing still, we have flexibility for you to submit those scores all the way up through next summer. You can apply to up to 4 programs. We do have a range of scholarships that range between 10 to 100% of tuition, and about 80% of our international students receive some sort of award. And we do accept US federal aid and vet benefits. This is a snapshot of where our students come from. So you can see we have some from Virginia and all across the US. And yeah, here's a snapshot and what students typically study. Here's my contact information. I'm always available for questions. I'd be your primary contact now through when you hop on that plane. So you're always welcome to reach out. Thanks.
All right, and finally, we'll hear from Randolph College, and then we'll have some time for a Q&A.
Hello, everyone. So bringing it back across the pond here to the US, my name is Claudia Jacobs, and I am an admissions counselor here at Randolph College in Lynchburg, Virginia. We have the benefit of being centrally located here in the state of Virginia. You can get to other places like Charlottesville, Roanoke, or Richmond in no more than 2 hours, but there's plenty of stuff going on here in the city of Lynchburg. As you see, we're surrounded by the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. There's life happening downtown and tons of stuff going on here on campus and ways for you to be an original as a student here at Randolph. And I'm going to talk about that today. If I can hit the next button. Here we go. Okay, so with a small student body of just around 600 students, we have the ability to make your classroom experience very personal, and for you to form a relationship with your professor that will allow them to invest in you as not just a student, but also as a potential employee for someone one day, or as the boss of a company one day as well. So our class average is around 13 students, and our student to faculty ratio is 8-to-1. Our classroom environment really centers around discussion and not so much lectures or PowerPoints. The beauty of the liberal arts is that our curriculum approaches our course material in a way that we want you to think critically and learn to communicate effectively and challenge yourself and one another. And our professors do a great job of that with our students. They're ranked 16th in the nation for most accessible. There are 30 different majors and 43 minors for you to choose from here at Randolph. And what makes our students so original is that it is not uncommon for there to be a chemistry major who has a minor in music, or a theater studies major who has a minor in sports and exercise studies, or something very unique like that. But it's all about pursuing your passions and doing what you're interested in and building those marketable skills while you're here as a student. What also makes us incredibly unique is that we are taking a new approach to our semester structure. We call this Take Two. Typically, you take 4 classes a semester for the entire 3 months, then take your final exams at the end and move on to the next semester's worth of classes. You see what that model looks like in this calendar I have here on the left under the common model, with 5 different classes spaced out across 5 days a week. Our professors came together and did some research and decided that that is a bit too much for students to have to deal with. And so they created this new model called Take Two, where you will be taking 4 classes a semester. However, you will only take them 2 at a time. The semester has been divided into 2 7-week sessions where you take 2 classes each 7 weeks, take your final exams, and then move on to the next session of 2 different classes. You see, in the Take Two model, you only have 2 classes spread out across 4 days a week, with Wednesday in the middle as a free day for you to put in your focus on other things, whether that's being a student athlete, whether that's participating in fine arts, doing an internship, research project, catching up on your homework, or just doing your laundry. We wanted to make more room in our students' schedules for them to fit in things that they are interested in or passionate about to help them grow their resume outside of the classroom. It's really important to us here at Randolph that you are more than just a student at a desk. So opportunities are vast, and they come from your professors, they come from your peers, they come from you showing an interest. You can do research projects or internships. Our professors really pride themselves on the fact that they're able to give our undergraduate students graduate level experience from the time they start until the time that they finish. And this is something that gives our graduates a leg up on their competition when applying to grad school or entering the workforce, because they have that experience to show on their resume from having that personal attention from their professors. There are also opportunities to go study abroad or just join a club, start a club here on campus, or even work a campus job. All of these are ways to build your resume and work on those marketable skills that will be very beneficial for you when you are after you've graduated from Randolph. And then, of course, outside the classroom, there's so much going on, especially on a small campus. And my favorite thing about it is that every time you go out to an event, you know everyone that's there, or you're going with your group of friends. Whether you're going to watch our authentic Greek play, or you're heading to the Black Box Theater to see a performance, you're going to cheer on one of our 9 different NCAA Division III athletic teams. We participate in the ODAC conference. Or you're participating in one of our many different rich traditions here on campus that date all the way back to our founding in 1871. There are so many things like a competition between our sister classes, a pumpkin parade, and the ring ceremony. Those are more things you can learn about once you're a student here, but it's something to get excited about because there's lots happening. And there's lots happening right now. We're open for you to come visit our campus. We have plenty of tours going on, so check that out online. But most importantly, we are test optional this year and for the foreseeable future. 100% of our students receive some sort of financial aid, so when you're applying, don't be concerned about the money. We want to work with you and make college as affordable for you as it possibly can be. Our merit-based scholarships are based off of your GPA, so get it as high as it can be and keep it up there. And some important dates to remember that are coming up, but we are rolling admissions, so apply anytime. And then there's my contact. Thank you guys so much for your time today.
Great, thank you. So now we have a few minutes for Q&A. So I'm going to invite our panelists to turn their videos back on. And I'll invite our attendees to utilize the Q&A box to ask any questions. And while we're keeping an eye on those written questions that are coming in, I would love to ask, this is my favorite part of this session, in presentation order, I would love to hear from the panelists a fun fact or a unique tradition, something special about your school that doesn't make it into the official presentation, but you definitely want to make sure that the students know. So we'll go back and we'll start with William and Mary.
So I think I mentioned that there was a plaque on the Wren building of the first at William and Mary, and that everyone has their favorite first. So my favorite first at William and Mary is that we were the first college to offer electives. And I know that sounds like a pretty boring fun fact, but I do think it's kind of cool that up until that point, people were going to school just for what their vocation was going to be. So the idea that folks just want to learn stuff because they're interested in it and how to build that into what you do. I think that's a pretty cool thing to be able to kind of say, is that students could just come and learn for the sake of learning. I think we still see that in our kids now. And some really cool, interesting classes as a result of that too.
So a tradition that we have at Mass Maritime that I think is sort of fun. So our senior students in licensed track programs, so the students earning Coast Guard licenses, have to sit for exams called COASTES in their senior year, where they sit for the exam that gets them the Coast Guard license, and it takes place on campus over a period of a week. So it's a long, drawn-out test that's very stressful. But the students find out the results, whether or not they pass at the conclusion of that week. So it's an immediate turnaround. And so while those exams are happening, a bell is set up in the center of campus, and for every student who passes the exam, which is typically close to 95% of students pass on the first try, get to come out and ring the bell. And it's this big moment where, they've finished all the work, and it's very exciting. And even for the students who aren't in those licensing programs, they get to support their students who may have just passed their exams and get to come ring the bell. So that's a pretty fun tradition.
So we have many traditions on campus, some of which our students don't find out about until literally their junior year because they're becoming rising seniors, and it's kind of like a initiation for our seniors. But the one that I will share that stuck out the most for me, especially as an alum, are class colors. So I was actually a part of the green class, and the way that it works is that instead of considering you a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, we consider you members of the red, green, blue, or gold class. And it really, your class color would depend on what class is graduating. So this year, the red class is graduating. For our incoming class, which is the students who are, hopefully, if you're starting in 2021, you'll be considered the red class. And what makes that cool is that there's women that have graduated years and years and years ago. And when they have their reunions, they'll say, well, the green class of 1978 or whatever. So it's pretty cool how you instantly create that connection with the Trinity sisters. The sisterhood is really real on our campus. You instantly get that connection just based on like what class color you were. And it's like class color rivalry and who's better and all of that. And then you have like your specific class color days as well. Green class is obviously on St. Patrick's Day, so it's always a really good time and so on and so forth. But I think that's the funnest tradition and the one that is the most memorable to all of our students.
So I have an interesting fact that has, I'm reversed, that has to do with this logo up here. So that harp is on UCD's logo, but it's also on the Ireland's flag for the Republic of Ireland. And an interesting fact is that on UCD's logo and Ireland's flag, the harp is actually reversed, and they had to flip it because Guinness trademarked the harp before Ireland became the Republic of Ireland. So when Ireland became a country, they had to flip it around to not infringe on Guinness's trademark. So I thought that was pretty funny.
And then my favorite tradition at Randolph has to do with the competition between our sister classes. Like I mentioned in my presentation, we have those. My favorite one about that is that your class is determined by your graduation year. So you are either an odd or an even. And you're paired up with your sister class based on your odd and even status. So each year, the freshmen are paired up with a member from the junior class, and for a week, they anonymously write letters or gift them or surprise them or prank them, whatever it may be. And it all culminates in that freshman presenting that junior with their class ring. There are a bunch of different events that happen in this way throughout the year, but it's great to match people up from different classes because we are a small school. So it gets everyone more intimate and acquainted with one another very quickly. And you really invest in the people that are older and younger than you and all of those things.
All right. Well, since we were short a school, we can go ahead and wrap up exactly 6 minutes early. So I want to say thank you to all of our presenters, all of the participants who watched and asked questions today. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions at strivescan.com/Virginia. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/Virginia. And we do have another session starting at the top of the hour, so in about 20 minutes. I'm sure I'll see some of you there. And to all the presenters, I want to say thank you again. And to everybody out there, have a great rest of your day.